The real blood pressure heroes have been found, and carrots didn't make the cut. 5 surprising foods that truly help lower blood pressure. If you've been diligently eating carrots hoping to lower your blood pressure, it's time to hit pause. Let me walk you through the story of Margaret, a 62-year-old retired librarian from Des Moines, Iowa, who had been dealing with high blood pressure for over a decade. Margaret was always careful with her health. She took her meds on time, she cut back on salt, followed her doctor's advice, and even joined a walking group for seniors at her local community center. But despite her best efforts, her blood pressure readings continued to bounce around like a rubber ball at a children's birthday party, sometimes too high, sometimes lower, but never quite stable. This constant fluctuation left her feeling jittery during the day and wide-eyed at night, lying awake wondering what she was doing wrong. One day, a friend from her yoga class suggested, "Why don't you try carrots? I read somewhere that they're great for lowering blood pressure." Well, Margaret thought, it's natural, it's easy, it's a vegetable, what's the harm? So she committed, and I mean really committed. She started adding carrots to everything: stir-fries, stews, salads. She made carrot soup. She blended raw carrots into juice every morning and sipped it like an elixir of life. For 3 whole months, she stuck with her carrot crusade. The result? Not only did her blood pressure refuse to budge, but her stomach started acting up. She felt bloated, her appetite went down, and she often felt drained of energy. Her spark dimmed. Eventually, her family convinced her to go in for a checkup. The results were eye-opening. Her potassium levels were too low, and her digestion was out of whack. When she told the doctor about her carrot overload, he chuckled and shook his head, not unkindly. "Carrots aren't the enemy," he said, "but they're also not the main players when it comes to naturally lowering blood pressure." The carrot myth and why it's misleading. Many people, just like Margaret, fall for health claims that sound harmless and convincing. After all, it's a vegetable. It must be good for you, right? Well, yes, but not for everything. Carrots actually don't contain that much potassium, only about 320 milligrams per 100 grams. That might sound like a lot, but it pales in comparison to some lesser-known veggies that pack a real potassium punch. Not only that, carrots have a relatively high glycemic index. That means when you juice them, especially without fiber, they can spike your blood sugar quickly. And higher blood sugar can lead to more pressure in your blood vessels. So, ironically, carrots might make your blood pressure worse, not better, if overdone. Let's be real for a second. Just because something is labeled a vegetable doesn't make it a blood pressure miracle. Some veggies are there to give you fiber, some give you vitamins, and only a select few actively help to relax your blood vessels, calm your nervous system, and support sodium excretion. That last group? That's where the real magic happens for blood pressure control. The real problem? Not too much salt, but too little potassium. We've all heard the lecture, cut the salt. Yes, sodium plays a major role in hypertension, but that's not the whole story. Many experts now agree that potassium deficiency is an equally serious and often overlooked factor in blood pressure management. Potassium works like the calming ambassador in your bloodstream. It helps your kidneys flush out excess sodium, reduces swelling, lowers the pressure inside blood vessels, and helps them relax. The World Health Organization has even stated that a potassium-rich diet can lower blood pressure as effectively as some prescription medications. Yet here's the twist. The typical Western diet is high in sodium and low in potassium. We love our processed foods, salty snacks, frozen dinners, deli meats, sauces, and cheeses. And all of that adds up to way more sodium than potassium. Over time, this imbalance puts strain on the arteries, and it shows up in our numbers at the doctor's office. So yes, you might be taking your pills, eating low-sodium foods, even skipping the chips. But if your potassium intake is low, it might not be enough. Is your body starving for potassium? Watch for these 4 clues. Potassium deficiency doesn't always scream loudly. Often, it whispers through subtle signs we chalk up to age or stress. Look out for these common symptoms. Tingling in hands and feet, muscle weakness. Low potassium interferes with nerve and muscle function, like a battery losing its charge. Heart palpitations or irregular heartbeat, potassium plays a key role in conducting electrical signals in your heart. A shortage can throw your rhythm off. Chronic fatigue and lack of motivation. Potassium helps generate energy at the cellular level. Without it, you feel like your engine just won't turn over. Digestive issues like bloating and loss of appetite. Potassium supports smooth muscle function, including your intestines. Low levels can slow digestion. Sound familiar? If you're over 50 and dealing with high blood pressure, it's worth checking your potassium levels, especially if you recognize any of the above. The Big Five: natural potassium-rich foods that actually help lower blood pressure. Now, let's talk about the real stars of the show. The vegetables and fruits that science actually supports as beneficial for blood pressure control. They're high in potassium and contain compounds that help dilate blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and promote diuresis. That's the body's natural process of getting rid of excess water and sodium. Here they are, the 5 you should be eating more of. 1. Celery, the unsung vascular relaxer. Celery might not win any awards for flavor, but when it comes to supporting your heart, it's a low-key champion. It's not just the potassium, 260 milligrams per stalk, that helps. Celery contains phthalides, plant compounds that naturally relax the tissues of the artery walls, making blood flow more smoothly. It also contains apigenin, a flavonoid that fights inflammation and oxidative stress. A study published in the Journal of Natural Medicine found that celery extract helped reduce blood pressure in participants with mild hypertension by relaxing smooth muscle tissue and blood vessels. Best way to eat it? Lightly cooked, like in stir fries with beans, soups, or with tofu. Celery juice is trendy, yes, but if you have a sensitive stomach, it might cause discomfort due to its cooling nature. And overdoing raw celery can upset the gut in some folks. Tip: combine with warm ingredients like ginger or lentils to balance it out. 2. Bitter melon, the intense veggie that works double duty. Okay, here's one that's a bit of a wild card: bitter melon. It's more commonly eaten in Asian, Caribbean, and African American households, but it's slowly making its way into Western kitchens. Yes, it's bitter. Extremely so. But don't let the taste scare you off. That bitterness is where the healing lives. Bitter melon contains charantin and mamorticin, which help regulate insulin, reduce inflammation, and relax blood vessels. In one small study from the National University of Singapore, 150 grams of bitter melon daily lowered systolic blood pressure by an average of 8 millimeters of mercury in just 3 weeks. Blood sugar levels improved too, making this a 2-for-1 deal for people with both hypertension and prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. How to eat: slice thin, stir fry with eggs or lean meat, or boil and toss with sesame oil. You can also add a dash of honey to temper the bitterness. 3. Swiss chard, the magnesium-packed power green. Swiss chard is like spinach's more sophisticated cousin, colorful, robust, and full of nutrients. 1 cup cooked gives you nearly 1,000 milligrams of potassium and a healthy dose of magnesium, another mineral that helps regulate blood pressure. Chard is rich in nitrates, which improve nitric oxide levels in the blood. Nitric oxide relaxes blood vessels and improves circulation, lowering pressure on the cardiovascular system. Try this: sautéed with garlic and olive oil, added to soups, or blended into smoothies. 4. Dandelion greens, the natural diuretic. Yes, those weeds in your yard. Dandelion greens are packed with potassium, over 400 milligrams per 100 grams, and have been used in traditional herbal medicine as a natural diuretic for centuries. They help flush out sodium and water, reducing fluid volume in the bloodstream, a simple and natural way to lower blood pressure. How to enjoy: sauté with mushrooms, mix into salads, or steep dried leaves in hot water for a mild detox tea. 5. Arugula, the spicy leaf with a vascular edge. Arugula might seem like just a peppery salad green, but it's actually rich in nitrates, just like beets. These nitrates help your body produce nitric oxide, a vasodilator that can help open up stiff blood vessels. A study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition noted that daily consumption of nitrate-rich veggies like arugula, beet greens, and kale led to a significant drop in systolic blood pressure after just 1 week. Enjoy it raw in salads, on sandwiches, or lightly wilted in pasta dishes. Final thoughts. It's not just what you remove, it's what you add. Margaret, our retired librarian, eventually moved past her carrot phase. With help from her nutritionist, she started incorporating foods like Swiss chard, celery, and a little bitter melon into her meals. And within 2 months, her blood pressure readings started to level out. More importantly, she felt calmer, more energetic, and more in control. Yes, reducing salt matters, but boosting potassium is equally, if not more, important. Next time you feel overwhelmed by health advice, just remember, nature has already given us an incredible toolkit. We just need to know which tools to pick up. And if you're ready to get serious about your blood pressure, don't chase fads. Just go back to your kitchen, open the fridge, and start where it matters most. Hi everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Grab a cup of tea or water, sit back, and let's talk about something that's been making the rounds in wellness circles. And honestly, it's time we set the record straight. A lot of people, well-meaning folks like your neighbor Susan, or your Uncle Joe who's recently retired and suddenly obsessed with natural health, they've been telling everyone to eat more carrots to lower blood pressure. You've probably heard it yourself. Carrots are high in potassium, they say. They'll help bring that pressure down. Sounds healthy, right? Well, here's the truth. They've got it wrong. Let's break it down. Carrots do contain potassium, sure, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Per 100 grams, which is roughly a small handful or a modest-sized serving, carrots offer about 320 milligrams of potassium. Now, that may sound like a lot if you're just eyeballing numbers, but let's compare that to other vegetables. Spinach, for instance, clocks in at over 550 milligrams per 100 grams. Swiss chard, around 500 to 600 milligrams. And good old celery, yes, the one you usually only see paired with peanut butter, comes in higher too. So if we're really talking about vegetables that pack a potassium punch, carrots are not at the top of the leaderboard. But that's just one part of the story. What most people don't realize, carrots also have a relatively high glycemic index. That means they can cause your blood sugar to spike, especially when consumed in a certain way. Now, let me pause and say this. I'm not talking about munching on a raw carrot stick or two with your lunch. That's fine. I'm talking about people who juice carrots a lot. Drinking a glass of carrot juice might feel like you're doing something incredibly healthy, but in reality, you're flooding your system with sugars and removing most of the fiber that helps regulate how quickly that sugar hits your bloodstream. That sudden blood sugar spike? It can actually cause your insulin levels to shoot up, which may indirectly influence your blood pressure in the wrong direction. That's right. The very thing you thought was helping you could actually be working against you. And then there's the temperature nature of carrots. This might be a new concept for some of you, but in many holistic traditions, think traditional Chinese medicine, or even some naturopathic perspectives, carrots are considered a cooling vegetable. They're a root, they grow underground, and they're naturally on the cooler inside of the dietary spectrum. Consuming too many cooling foods, especially in colder climates or for people with sensitive digestive systems, can contribute to stomach discomfort, bloating, or even slow digestion over time. I know a lady here in Michigan, Mrs. Thompson, lovely woman, in her late 60s, does yoga every morning. She started drinking 2 glasses of carrot juice a day because she heard it was good for blood pressure. A few weeks later, she had digestive issues, blood sugar swings, and her blood pressure hadn't budged. Her doctor gently told her, "You're using the wrong tool for the job." So what's the real message here? As physicians and dietitians around the world keep reminding us, managing blood pressure isn't about obsessing over a single food. There's no miracle vegetable, no superfood that works in isolation. It's about the whole picture. Your overall diet, your stress levels, your sleep, your physical activity. And more importantly, it's about balance and consistency. Sure, potassium plays a role, but blindly increasing your potassium intake isn't safe for everyone. 3 groups of people who need to be extra careful with high potassium foods. Let's talk about this because it's really important. People with kidney issues. Your kidneys are your body's filtration system. They help flush out excess potassium. But if your kidneys aren't working properly due to chronic kidney disease or other conditions, then all that potassium you're taking in, it doesn't go out. It builds up in your blood, leading to hyperkalemia, too much potassium, which can cause irregular heartbeats and, in extreme cases, even cardiac arrest. People taking certain blood pressure medications, some meds, like potassium-sparing diuretics or ACE inhibitors, for example, drugs like lisinopril or captopril, can already increase potassium levels in your body. So if you're on these medications and then go all in on bananas, sweet potatoes, spinach, and carrot juice, you might push your potassium levels too high. That's not just ineffective, it can be dangerous. People with electrolyte imbalances. This includes folks with long-term illnesses, the elderly, and even people recovering from intense illness or dehydration. Their bodies may have trouble regulating sodium, potassium, and other minerals. For them, supplementation, even through food, needs to be closely monitored by a healthcare provider. And no, gulping down potassium tablets or using potassium-enriched salt substitutes without medical guidance is not the answer. You're not just risking tummy troubles. You're potentially playing with fire. So what can we do instead? The answer is so simple it's almost boring, but it works. Pushpin eat a balanced, varied diet. Pushpin include a rainbow of vegetables. Don't put any one veggie on a pedestal. Pushpin stay hydrated. Get some gentle movement every day. Pushpin sleep well. Pushpin, and most importantly, stay consistent. Let me say it louder for the folks in the back. There is no magic smoothie, no miracle root, no ancient herb that will fix your blood pressure overnight. Long-term health is about tiny decisions made every day. What's on your plate, how you wind down at night, whether you go for that 10-minute walk after dinner. That's the medicine. Now, before I let you go, let's talk briefly about 5 foods that truly do support healthy blood pressure, but again, not miracle cures, just helpful allies. Leafy greens like spinach, kale, and arugula, naturally high in potassium and magnesium. Berries, especially blueberries and strawberries, full of antioxidants that help protect blood vessels. Oats, great source of soluble fiber to help lower cholesterol, which in turn supports better blood flow. Beets, high in nitrates, which can support nitric oxide production, helping blood vessels relax. Lentils and beans, high in fiber, low in fat, and packed with minerals. They're all affordable, easy to find, and don't require a trip to some trendy organic shop. You'll find them at your local grocery store, probably already in your fridge or pantry. Just remember, how you cook them and how you eat them over time is what counts. And please don't be like Mrs. Thompson or the many people out there juicing a pound of carrots a day, thinking they're avoiding the pharmacy. You might just end up needing more of it. Final thoughts. High blood pressure usually doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of years of poor sleep, too much salt, not enough movement, stress, and yes, less than ideal food choices. If you want to make a difference, start where it matters most, your next meal. Forget the fads, ignore the miracle cures. Start with real food. Make your dinner table your medicine cabinet. A warm bowl of soup, a fresh salad, a sensible portion of protein, a little fruit. You don't need magic. You need consistency. And we'll be here to walk that road with you. Thanks for watching today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, because we're here every day with simple truths, gentle reminders, and the kind of support that makes a difference over time. Let's keep growing together. Let's stay strong, stay curious, and yes, age with grace. Take care, friends. See you next time.